Okay, here's another title that people might freak out about, but it's a fantastic book and a fantastic movie too. I read I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Iain Reid in 2023. I give it 5 out of 5 stars, added it to my favorites list, and I wrote this review on Goodreads. I've had this book on my want to read list for a long time after seeing the movie for a podcast when it came out. It's my favorite theme in art, a kind of mind bender that encourages the receiver to question point of view, frame of reference, and ultimately our experience of reality itself. A lot has changed in my life since seeing the movie, and the book is different in interesting and artistic ways. But I love both for some of the same reasons and some new ones entirely. I don't remember the film being particularly scary, but Reid's flirtations with menace made for an intense read in different set pieces throughout, and built an ongoing story velocity for me to turn pages and experience more. The version I read contained a number of enhance your book club questions and even a brief interview with Reid himself that attempts to go deep on the story, but ends up being more of an explanation of his process, which was welcome background for me as well. This idea deserves discussion. It might be manifestation, but it also might be madness, and I think it depends where you are on your journey. I will be thinking and talking about this creative exploration for some time. The movie was written by Charlie Kaufman, and it was an amazing movie. But the movie was more about dread. There are aspects of the book, especially towards the end, that get really, really scary, but not in a bad way. Definitely in the way that I like. This one is super intense and super deep, but I felt constantly encouraged to learn more and to do more. The end of the book feels like you as a reader are escaping something, and you're doing it with the narrator. You're being chased and you need to escape. The end of the movie feels like a celebration in a somewhat dreadful and creepy way, but at no point in the movie did I feel threatened. And in the book, I did. But again, I would say it was in a way that was really fun and interesting and forced me to consider all of the things that I talk about when I talk about mind benders, forced me to consider reality, forced me to consider the depth of my thoughts. It was fantastic in that way. The podcast that I did the movie review for is a podcast that I've talked about a couple times on this channel. It's called The Film Board from The Next Reel. And the Film Board does reviews on movies right when they come out, in the month that they come out, to talk about, things that are rapidly released to Netflix, like this one was, or that are in theaters. I will link the podcast episode here, because it's a great discussion about everything that's happening here. And Charlie Kaufman is a fantastic screenwriter for this kind of layered story. He is also the writer behind Adaptation, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. He is wonderful for the mindbender genre. And so I think that connecting him with Iain Reid on this was a perfect match. There is a bit of a disclaimer to talk about with this book. I talked at the beginning about how the title might make people freak out. There is the concept of death, and there is the concept of potentially suicidal ideation that comes in this book. When I say here towards the end of the review, this might be manifestation, but it also might be madness. That's part of what is challenging the reader here as you experience what the narrator is experiencing. I love an unreliable narrator. This unreliable narrator turns out to be a wonderful set of different layers. And I mentioned in a recent review how my mind loves to try to make meaning of things, tries to attach symbols to things in my own life. This book stimulated that to some degree, but even more, this book was something that mindset can identify with. Not so much as trying to place myself in the story, but tempting me in to be a part of the story with the narrator. Your point of view is going to be shifted. Your point of view in the book will be shifted. Your way of thinking about your own thoughts and your way of thinking about time and experience will be challenged by this book. And I just think it's fantastic. This is one of my first recommendations to people when I talk about a book that they should read, especially in the mindbender genre. It's terrifying, but in the most entertaining way. I loved it. The movie should still be available on Netflix. That's where it was released. I didn't check to see if it was there before, but the book is a great standalone piece as well. It's called I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Iain Reid. I read it in 2023. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. It's one of my favorites. Till next.